what were the work that you were doing with that meditation and visioning? Because I'm sure, like you said, and I'm really glad you brought it up, because before, like you said, I was at the radio station. I was rapping live. I was nervous. Like what I find is that with yourself and stories like yours, there's manifestation, but there's also a ton of hard work in the background.
Yes, it is.
Tell me about that part of what were you doing in the background while you're meditating, you're envisioning, you're seeing yourself there. What's happening with rap music and music?
Well, one of the things that I would do in my meditations is I would put out let me attract the people, energy, places that I need to go to the next level in my career. Let me attract the people, and I would meet people, I would meet producers, and we would lock in, and who had a common belief as mine, or the same one, and I'm trying to get on as a producer, you trying to get on, let's work, right? And I would write things down. I treated it like it was a job. And also one of the things I had to put in perspective is that it didn't matter how hard I was working necessarily, it really mattered how smart I was working. I had a perception, it is hard work, you're right, but I had the perception that it takes hard work, until I realized that some of the most successful people I knew would work a couple hours a day and enjoy their life. It's flowing. And at the end, me and my mom, we grew up in debt, and she worked 2 jobs, and she was working most of her life. So it just didn't make sense to me. Early on, I'm like, it's not about working hard, it's about working efficiently and smarter. So that's one of the things I really learned at that age too. So it's a big lesson. Because a lot of the other people who I would see at studios, they would be like, man, I made 8 songs today. I'd be like, well, I've been working on the same song for a week and a half, but it's not about that. It's about the product. It's about what you're doing, and not about necessarily how much you're pumping out. You know what I mean? And that was something I really had to accept, because your ego will not let you accept that sometimes. We've been conditioned, right, to think all these things, and that's I feel like one of the things your book talks about. We've been conditioned to think a certain way. We've been conditioned to, we're given a certain amount of guidance, options, directions. You're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, you're supposed to follow the line, you're supposed to do that, you're supposed to do that. Hey, you guys got to do, our whole lives. And a lot of that is just, some of it's great, but some of it just doesn't apply to everyone. And that's one of the things I had to realize and redo my foundation of my whole life and be my architect.
Well said, man. That's beautiful. I love the way you've expressed that, because that must have been an uncomfortable place to live for 1 or 2 years. When you feel you're going to get your break, it doesn't happen. Your friends are now moved on. And everyone's...
And I'm still in the same bed that I grew up in. I was sleeping in a twin-size bed, man. I'm 18, 19 years old, you feel me? And it was so frustrating, and it was a test of my ego, bro. It was a test of my ego. But I would visualize Kanye reaching out. I would visualize, I just knew that it was gonna happen. I didn't know how. And I was like, I'm gonna make it happen somehow. And it did, bro. And it's like something you gotta trust. Imagine you being on a cliff, and it's like there's no more cliff there, but you like, hey man, there's an invisible bridge. If you had a guidance next to you, you had your higher self walking next to you, and you're like, bro, there's nowhere to walk. And he's like, I'm telling you, if you take a step, it's an invisible bridge right in front of you. And that takes a lot of faith to walk on that bridge. That you can't even see. But that's what I had to do, because that's the decision I made. I wasn't about to go back to school at that moment. I wasn't about to go back to my friends and be like, man, y'all was right. I messed up, man. I should have just, I couldn't do it, And that may have been my ego too, but I did let that motivate me. And that's just how it went. And then he did reach out.
Tell us about that moment, how it felt internally around. Were you like, oh wow, this manifestation stuff works? Was that a point where you deepened your faith and belief in the invisible bridge, where you were like, oh, this stuff really works? Or do you think you already believed that it worked and it was just about trust? Or was this like a confidence point?
I had to trust it first.
Yeah, okay.
I had to trust it first.
Beautiful, yeah.
You know, and that's the thing with everything. You got to trust it. And then it started working. You know, things necessarily don't work before you trust it. It's kind of like you got, you know, I think that's one of the lessons I had to learn. You know, I had to trust in me, trust myself, trust the process, trust God's speed. You know, that expression is so popular for a reason. You know, you can make all these plans. My grandma used to always be like, man, God, you make all these plans, God's going to laugh at you.
Yes, yeah.
You know, that classic saying. And she would say that to me. And so many sayings like that just mean so much more now because it's true. That's why it's so popular. What goes around comes around. Yeah. You know, all these little things that we heard.
They're true. Yeah.
They're true.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been a beautiful time. And when he did reach out, it felt like it was confirmation that trust wasn't wasted. It's all a higher power, right?
Yeah.
And that is guiding us and wants to support us.
Yes.
And does support us. Not wants to, does support us.
Absolutely. Did you ask him why it took him so long?
Nah, because you know, I knew people who were like 30, 40 years old that never got their shot. So I'm not going to be like, man, I'm not, it took 2 years. What took so long, you know? But, you know, and it was a process after that. And things, I'm not going to sit here and say life is smooth sailing.
Never.
You know, it's not smooth sailing. It's like a constant unraveling experience, right? And things don't, it's so many times, brother, things don't go my way and I've done all the work and I'm like, why didn't this happen how I wanted it to happen? And then sometimes where I didn't expect things to do anything and it turns out to be one of my biggest songs in my career, my biggest moments, or one of my greatest experiences, or things that I've like, okay, I put so much energy and power into this and it not do what I wanted it to do. Like, these are things that I go through on a daily basis. But I had to realize that it's all the side of life that I'm on is such a unique side, and it's the blessed side.
Yeah.
And that anything that happens to me, anything, you know, it's all love, it's all beautiful, you know, and it's something to be learned from it. It's something to be gained from it. It's, you know, you when you win something, you learn something. When you lose something, you learn something. You know, you still win something.
Yeah.
You gain something, you know, so. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy.